Hello and welcome to the Empowered by Claudia podcast, where we explore all things self-development. Here you'll discover practical tools, tips and strategies to help you feel more confident, empowered and in control of your life. I'm Claudia, I'm your host, I'm a registered nurse and mindset coach, fear of success instructor, and most importantly, your guide on your self-development journey. I know firsthand how confusing and overwhelming and isolating this path can feel. So I created this podcast so you never have to navigate it alone. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Empowered by Claudia podcast. So today we are going to talk about why some goals feel possible and others don't. So last time we were talking about how to repair our trust in ourselves and confidence and belief that actually, why not me? Why don't I get to achieve this goal? Why is goal setting just for other people? Why can't it be me? Why don't I get to have my dreams come true? And we talked about taking action and that just having goals and not taking action is just dreams, really. And without action, they're never going to become reality. So we do need to take that action. And once we take that first step, it becomes easier. So today we are going to be talking about visualization and embodiment. And don't worry, if you don't know what these things are, I will explain. So visualization is when we imagine what achieving that goal is going to look like, feel like, sound like. I'm trying to think of all my senses now. They've vanished. But essentially, smell like, taste like, so we're really going to tap into all of our senses and imagine what it's going to be like when we meet that goal. So is that when we get that job, when we reach that health goal? Maybe it's running a race. Maybe it's feeling fitter and healthier. Maybe it's being able to pick up your children without being in agony, without worrying that you're going to give yourself a hernia or something. That was definitely one of my wins this year. Maybe it's laughing without weeing yourself. Like, I don't know what the goal is, but what I want you to do is have that goal in your mind and think, okay, so what will it look like? What is day-to-day life like once I've hit that goal? How will I feel? Will I feel, so when I first did my coach training, how will it feel to be a coach? It just I feel confident and grounded in that, not thinking about imposter syndrome or, not knowing the answers, because ultimately coaches don't have the answers. We're helping you to find the answer that fits you, because my answers are different to your answers. Feeling that confidence in introducing yourself and saying, hi, I'm a coach and I'm here and I can help you if you want. And there are many ways you can visualize, but often what people struggle is, well, what am I visualizing? So how do I want to feel? Because often we think about goals in this very two-dimensional form. Like, so, I want to buy a house. But actually, rather than just thinking on it on that level, I want to buy a house. Okay. So how is it going to feel when those keys are dropped into the palm of your hand and you feel the metal of those keys? How does it feel when you step over that front door? How does it feel when you move all your furniture in? You start to decorate, you put up your favorite poster or picture, or, you put your favorite cozy blanket on the sofa and you snuggle down to watch your favourite film. How does that feel? How will it feel inviting friends over to visit? For me, a massive thing, and do you know what? I haven't even done it for this house, but a massive thing for my first house was actually getting those pre-printed name labels to put on post that had like my name and address on, the like return to sender type thing. I think the reason I haven't done it for this house is because I rarely send post, but I used to, like, that was a big thing for my first house. I moved house every year from when I was 18 to 28. Every single year I moved. Like, I could not take out bank accounts without them thinking I was a fraud risk because I had so many addresses. So a big thing for me was having that security of being somewhere for longer than a year, for not having to stress about flatmates, banging doors, waking me up when I was on night shifts, cooking stinky food. Like, all of those things were massive. And, you know, let's face it, my first house was like a studio flat, barely any room, and obviously I could hear the neighbours upstairs and downstairs and whatever. But it was my space. It was my haven. When I went across that front door, it was mine, all mine. And so really tapping into how are you going to feel? What is day-to-day life going to look like? What are these little things that you're looking forward to? Then when you're looking at that goal going, I want to buy my house. Okay, that really fills you with excitement. That's like, okay, I can do it. So how is life going to be different? So as you're taking those steps towards your goal, it might involve some sacrifices. It might be, okay, well, I'm not going to go and buy a new outfit for the weekend, or I'm not going to go on that holiday because I'm putting that savings towards my house. But rather than feeling resentment or sad that you're not going and to do those things, actually thinking about, well, how is it going to feel when I get there? Same thing with a health goal. Like, you're sitting cuddled up in your cozies at home and you get the reminder your gym class is going to start soon. Let's fast forward 6 months, 12 months. How is it going to feel when I'm not out of breath at the top of the stairs? Wherever I can run and keep up with the children in the playground, where I could run for a bus without feeling like I'm going to have a heart attack. How is it going to feel in an hour's time when I've done that class and I'm filled with endorphins and I know that I've invested in my health? And actually tapping in to how it's going to feel is such a key part of achieving your goals. It helps you on those days where you think, I just want to stay in bed a little longer. I don't want to get up and work out. I don't want to not watch the last 5 minutes of my favorite show because I'm preparing my meal for tomorrow. I don't want to take that effort. But actually, by prioritizing that effort, by tapping into those feelings of what it's going to feel like, how is it going to be, how is it going to change my life, that is really going to keep you motivated to take the effort, to take the steps that you need to take in order to get to your goals. But also, the more time that you live in that visualization, the more times you tap into it, your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and what it is thinking. So the more times that you visualize that happening, your brain's like, yeah, that feels real. That feels safe. That feels secure. I know that. I can go on board with that. And you will start. So you've got something called your reticular activating system. And it basically filters the huge amount of information that we consume on a daily basis. There is so much information. I think there's like something like 60,000 bits of info our brains sift through every day. Obviously, we do not consciously see that amount of information. But the reason that we don't see it is because the system filters it all out according to what it thinks is important to us. So the things that we repeat, the things that we think of regularly, it goes, okay, they're interested in that. Bit like the algorithm on social media, that if you mention a certain thing, you will suddenly be seeing adverts for it everywhere. If you engage with a certain type of content, you see it everywhere. Your reticular activating system is like that. And it basically, once it fixes onto, right, she's got this goal and we are feeling it. We know how we're going to feel when we get that house or get that job or meet that health goal. The more it's like, right, I'm going to filter in things that are related to that. So it'll be like, oh, look at that person. They're making progress towards that goal. I wonder what we can learn from them. And you don't even have to consciously do it because your brain is just doing it for you. It's amazing. So all of this comes together to really help improve our motivation to keep us on track, especially when life happens and things don't go to plan and we have to deal with setbacks. But tapping back into that visualization of what it's going to be like to actually live our goals, that is going to keep us going. The other thing is actually enjoying the journey, because there are people who meet their goals and then like, right, okay, what next? And this is, I guess, the problem when you focus so much on the goal, not about the process of becoming, the process of getting to that goal, the process of evolving. And actually, let's live in this present moment because this is what we have. And so rather than going, I'll be happy when, I'll eat healthy when, I will make more time for my friends when, and always putting these conditions on ourselves. Actually, no. We want to enjoy our moments. And when you are stuck in a job that is sucking the life out of you, when you are not happy with your health, you've got health conditions, you are not physically feeling great, it can be really hard to enjoy the present moment. And I say this with compassion. And I get there, I've been there. But the biggest thing for me has been doing gratitude practice. And actually, what am I grateful for about this job? What am I grateful for about my body, my living situation, my health? And actually appreciating the things that we have, even if they're not the things that we want, is a huge step forward, because we are then putting our brain in the mindset of being grateful for things, of receiving good things, because we're feeling grateful for that. We're not fixating on what we don't have. Because when we fixate on all the things we don't have, we feel we're in this mindset of lack, of not enoughness. And it closes us off to opportunity. And all of this can be subconscious because, like I said, your brain is filtering things in and out. So we won't necessarily see examples of other people meeting their goals. We will automatically see things that confirm that everything's rubbish. Actually, it's a really hard financial time at the moment. And so, being self-employed is not a good idea financially. You'll see those articles, you'll hear that'll be the things that are shown to you on social media, rather than, the possibilities of, well, there is still work out there. I see regularly jobs get posted, working from home, part-time and things. They are out there, but that's because I'm open to that possibility, that it is out there, even if I can't see it yet. And it requires a bit of trust and kind of, just thinking, I mean, a bit topical, but the magic of Christmas. Like, so how does Santa get in when you don't have a chimney? We've got a magic key. The kids just like, yeah, fabulous. Let's put the magic key out for Santa. And I think it's the same with a big goal. you don't necessarily have to know how it's going to happen, but actually just believing that it is possible, even if you don't know each single step of how it's going to happen. We don't need to micromanage the process. Let's just enjoy the process. Let's believe it is possible. And, a good example is my journey this year of leaving my part-time job. At the beginning of the year, I set it as my goal, but I did not know how it was going to happen. On my goal board, I put in June to hand in my notice, my 3 months notice. I didn't know. I didn't know. And the way it actually came to be was not something that I even knew was a possibility. And so I really encourage you to set those goals, even if you have no idea how that is going to come, because we do not know what is around the corner. We don't know what opportunities are going to come to us. And this, again, is why community matters more than our own personal willpower. Because actually, when you are living somebody else's journey along with them, when you are celebrating their wins, when you are cheering them on, you're witnessing people who are making things happen. And there's something about, again, I'll probably misquote this, but there's something about the people that you surround yourself with and how influential they are to finances, but just knowing that things are possible. I network with other business owners and seeing other people living this life, making a living, being able to go to their children's school performances, being able to take time off in the summer holidays. They don't have to worry about juggling annual leave and fighting with all the other parents who also want time off in their summer holidays and trying to organize holiday clubs and all of those stresses. And actually believing it is possible. It is possible to run a business and be able to do the things that I really desire to do. And actually, when you are around people achieving their goals, it is infectious. You think, actually, do you know what? I'm going to do it. If they can do it, so can I. And I really have resistance to that phrase, even though I just used it, because I remember I was at this event and there was a speaker that came on and they said, if I can do it, so can you. And I was like, but what you're saying is your whole life you had people telling you that regardless of anything that's thrown at you, you can succeed. You can do it. We believe in you. We love you. You've got this. You are amazing. But a lot of us didn't have that. A lot of us didn't have people who were going, you can do whatever you put your mind to. You can succeed. You can do this. A lot of us grew up in that time where girls did certain jobs and boys did other jobs, and you would go down a specific career path or not, or you stay at home and be a mummy, whatever it is. And we have these ingrained beliefs that we take on subconsciously as children when we see around us what is possible and what is not possible. For example, I was the first in my family to go to university. And for me, I knew that that's what I wanted to do for quite a while, but mainly because I didn't want to stay in the town that I grew up in. I wanted to get out. I wanted to go to London. I wanted to have a different life. And for me, the vehicle that got me out was to go to college and then to university. But there was this niggly feeling inside that actually, well, you need to do a vocational course because you don't want to go to university for 3 years and then not have a job. And I desperately wanted to go and do psychology at university, and I didn't. I went and did nursing because it's a job. It is a degree that takes you through and into a career. Obviously, it's not a guaranteed job. You still have to apply and things, but you are trained specifically for a certain profession. And I'm so grateful for young me that made that decision. But I'm not ruling out the possibility of returning and doing some psychology at university at a later date because I find it fascinating. Absolutely do. Um, but this goes back to my dad had a business and he went through two recessions in that time, had to make a lot of staff redundant. When I was probably about 9 or 10, I knew all of his stuff. I always went on the Christmas parties. I'd go there after school. His business was across the road from my home. So it was really hard for me when he had to make them redundant. Obviously, it's much harder for them and for my dad. Part of me learned about job security and picking a profession that wasn't going to be as vulnerable to things like redundancies. And that shaped why I picked that. But maybe I'd have picked something different if I didn't firsthand witness the impact of redundancies and recessions and small businesses and having that responsibility for keeping the roof over people's heads. And I think, the reasons why we do and don't make certain decisions are so intertwined and it's so hard to pick them apart. And this is where community really, really helps because we then get that repeated affirmation that this is possible. There are other people going out there and achieving their goals. So why not me? Why not you? Why can't we? There is enough for everyone. Just because somebody else is achieving a goal doesn't mean that you can't. It's evidence that you can. But being gentle with yourself and going, you know, again, this phrase, like everybody has got the same 24 hours in a day. No, they do not. They absolutely do not. Because if you've got 24 hours and you have a nanny and a cook and a cleaner and a personal trainer and a nutritionist and et cetera, you're going to get a lot more done than someone who's doing it all themselves. So when you are setting your goals, being considerate to yourself, to your resources, to the season of life that you are in is so important. And it's why I set up the Goal Getter membership is actually that we can support each other through this. We can make sure that we are setting goals that are aligned. They're our goals. They fit with our desires and what we need and what we believe. They're not what society necessarily thinks we should be setting. I hate the should. And we keep each other accountable. But that doesn't mean pressuring. That just means, we're here. Let's celebrate. Let's think about the progress. Even if the progress feels infinitesimally small, it's still progress. And, checking in on people and actually saying, babe, are you okay? Like, do you need anything? It's that community and having people who care, who assume that you will achieve your goals. They're not people who might be negative about it, might be unsupportive. They're people who have got your back, who are cheering you on. And I just want you to imagine what it would really feel like waking up in 6 months' time, feeling calmer, steadier, more capable. Not perfect, but just consistent. You're taking consistent action towards your goals. You're enjoying the journey. You are living your dreams. And you may be far away from them, but you're also far away from the starting point. And just really anchor in those sensations of how it's going to feel. How will it feel waking up every day in your dream job, in your new home, in your improved body, in your improved health? How will it feel living your life, having met those goals? If you want to join us in Goal Getter, we would love to have you. We have a community area that is away from social media. So you don't have to worry about adverts. You don't have to worry about getting distracted. You can come in there for support, for troubleshooting when things don't quite go to plan, cheering yourself on and others on, and celebrating those wins together to keep you accountable to taking those actions, to have coaching on any mindset blocks that might be getting in your way, and to have a monthly reset as we put behind us anything that didn't quite go to plan, celebrate the things that went well, and set a new intention for the new month. I am so excited to see you there. I cannot wait to see you grow in confidence, to make meaningful progress towards your goal, and also to do that without hustle, without burning out. So if you don't want to do 2026 on your own, then come and join us in Goal Getter. We would absolutely love to have you. And I'm going to leave just reminding you, why not you? Why don't you get to achieve your goals? Let's do it. And you don't need to know all of the steps to start. Just get started. Just take that first step, no matter how small. And support and understanding, being curious about any resistance that's coming up. And I cannot wait to see you in the membership if that's what you choose is right for you. If not, I will be back on the next episode. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Empowered by Claudia podcast. I'm Claudia from claudiasabinawellness.com. If you are ready to take your next step and transform your life, all the ways to connect with me, whether for coaching, courses, or any other sort of support, are in the show notes or on my website at www.claudiasabinawellness.com. If you found value in this episode, I'd be so grateful if you could leave a review, share it with a friend, or post about it on social media. Don't forget to tag me at Claudia_Sabina_wellness. Your support helps more people discover the tools and guidance they need. I cannot wait to support you on your journey. Much love.